We've got a lot
we
to
got
get to this morning.
Out.
Yes, there were a slew of new polls showing a tight presidential race in three key battleground states. Let's start in Pennsylvania, where the latest New York Times Siena College Philadelphia Inquirer poll of likely voters finds Vice President Kamala Harris ahead of former President Donald Trump, 50% to 46%. That result falls within the poll's margin of error.
Which, again, I mean, it's New York Times Siena poll. They usually have her at 3 and Donald Trump at 97. It's like, well, you know, they did polling for Saddam Hussein.
Still, it's just a snapshot, and it's close.
3, but here, yeah, this is close, but she's up by 4 points there.
A new Quinnipiac University poll in Pennsylvania finds Harris leading Trump 51 to 45%. In Michigan, Harris has a 5-point lead over Trump. And in Wisconsin, it's close. Harris leads Trump by just 1 point, 48 to 47%. Meanwhile, a new Marist poll has Harris and Trump tied in Pennsylvania. Harris has a 5-point lead in Michigan and a 1-point lead in Wisconsin. Similarly, a new AARP poll finds Harris leading Trump by 1 point among likely voters in Wisconsin, 49% to 48%. But among voters 50 and older, Trump takes a 3-point lead over Harris. And the latest New York Times Siena College national poll of likely voters finds Harris and Trump tied at 47%.
So what do you think?
I think I've found the polls to be disappointing in the past, so I never know what to believe, but it does give you a snapshot, and I think the trend lines is what you always say is the important thing to look at.
Yeah, I mean, and Will, if you look at the trend lines in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, trend lines all, most of them show Kamala Harris doing substantially better, 6, 7, 8 points better than Joe Biden did, up 3, 4 points. Again, still in the margin of error, but you look at the trend lines there. Trend lines in Pennsylvania and Michigan look good for Kamala Harris. Wisconsin just is about as tight as Dan Rather might say, tight as a Texas tick.
On a,
tight as a Texas tick on the back of a.
Okay. He's way better than that.
World
frog head side
these
shooters.
Are good.
He's got
okay. There you go.
That one?
There you go.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is stark when you look where we were before President Biden got out of the race. The trend lines, as we talk about, seem to be slipping in a lot of states, obviously in the battleground states, but even others. And at worst, Kamala Harris has stabilized that. And at best, in some of these swing states, she has grown a bit of a lead now on Donald Trump. But Sam Stein, I guess the good news for Democrats is there is no celebration whatsoever inside the Harris campaign. They're under no illusions that they're running away with any of these states. They know how close it's going to be. Interesting to note in some of the crosstabs on these polls, though, that we looked at just a minute ago, the Quinnipiac polls, on specific issues that Donald Trump is believed to have and that he thinks he has an advantage, the economy and immigration. Even those have entered sort of margin of error territory, suggesting that Kamala Harris has made up ground on those two pivotal issues in this race.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the crowded debate, you are right. Not much celebration here for them. Did I connect the dots?
That's good.
Just got to, ruin the show a little bit. Yeah. I will note that Joe's right. It's kind of funny because all these polls basically tell the same thing of a very tight race with a probably small Harris lead. But Joe's right. You can imagine the collective freak out and meltdown if the numbers were slightly reversed in the New York Times Siena poll and it was Harris who was down a couple points in Pennsylvania. Democrats would have a therapy bill that would be monumental, but that's not the case. And it's funny because I don't think Republicans will feel the same way about that poll this morning. Ultimately, it's a really close race, right? And the trend lines are slightly more favorable to Harris. There's question about whether she had plateaued a little bit. I think at this point, it's probably fair to say the debate gave her a small boost. And I think we're looking at a race where it's like, 1 or 2 percentage margins in a number of critical states that will determine the election. I think the good news for Harris is not just that she's got a little bit of momentum, but that she has more money and also a more sophisticated ground game operation. I was talking about it with Lemire a little bit, but Trump's kind of outsourced all of his ground game operation to other groups, including an Elon Musk super PAC. And there was a news story this week that was a little bit underappreciated, but Musk basically stopped contracting with a couple of those groups and decided to contract with another group. The other thing, though, that is of note, and I think Willie hit on it, is that on the key issue of the day, which is the economy, more trust for Harris over time. And then secondly, and I know we're going to get to this, the Fed interest rate cut. We have the recipe for a decent set of economic conditions heading into Election Day, which I think will benefit Harris, and which I think is why you saw a lot of the Trump people sort of angry about it, calling it almost conspiratorial and political for Powell to do it. So all things considered, a fairly good day of data for Harris.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Lemire now.
Okay, let's do that.
Never misses it. Never misses it. I'm going to Lemire now.
Okay, you do it, honey. All
hey,
right.
Jonathan, so now there's a part where I'm coming to you, which I was told.
Ready
Look at that. TJ goes,
Inside voice.
goes, take the prompt. Take the prompt.
Okay.
Anyway, this whole story about plateauing, I just want to bring this up. And as Sam said, psychiatrists across Manhattan, they basically get a month's worth of work the day after a New York Times Siena poll comes out. Today, it's like 47-47, but they threw in the Pennsylvania deal just sort of as a mood regulator for some people on the Upper East Side, Upper West Side.
To cut through antidepressant.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of like they got to stabilize it. So anyway,
it's a mixture.
But that said, the only plateau there was the New York Times Siena poll, and I'm serious. You look at the polls that are out there right now. A lot of the ones that have come out the last couple of days, national polls have Harris up 3, 4, 5, 6 points. These polls show certainly in the most important swing states a significant move towards her. Wisconsin really tight, and of course Wisconsin is wider. Wisconsin is older. That's a state really that Joe Biden was overperforming in because he did better with older white voters than he did with other groups that he usually underperformed on. So I think that's what we're seeing in Wisconsin. But right now, Michigan, Pennsylvania, if you're looking at these numbers, if you're also looking at what I still think may be in a tight race in all these swing states, the most important story, and that is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris together have been burying millions and millions of dollars and building up a ground game over the past year, in part because Biden is an old-time Paul that says ground game, ground game, ground game. In close races, even the Trump people will tell you a good ground game's worth half a point in any state, especially when the other side is outsourcing their ground game because they never had the discipline to build it. So this is, again, not great news for Harris, but certainly not good news for Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah, let's first take a beat on that ground game. Let's remember, of course, that the RNC was then co-opted by the Trump campaign and Trump family, and they used resources for some of his legal bills for a time as opposed to working on that ground game. Well, you're right, that starting under President Biden when he was the candidate and continued under Vice President Harris, the Democrats have a massive advantage in all the battleground states in terms of offices. And they've seen, after Harris moved to the top of the ticket, a surge in volunteers. I've been told they don't even have enough jobs for people who want to do them because there's such enthusiasm for her. That's got to help. And we shouldn't overlook, she's going to have a massive financial advantage as well. She's really out fundraised Trump and will have to spend less time going forward doing so, more time on the campaign trail. Certainly in terms of these polls, you mentioned Wisconsin, even in Pennsylvania as well, it's a state that's whiter than most of the country. And the poll shows some strength here from Harris on white voters and even with older voters. Now, not as strong as Joe Biden, which is why I think the Harris campaign is going to use Biden in targeted fashions to speak to those demographics going forward. The race is very close, but the trend lines favor Harris. And in terms of, guys, the spin of these polls is always amusing. Whenever a poll comes out that shows a tight race, Republicans always grab it and say, look, we're doing really well, like motivate our voters. We're doing well. We're going to win. I think some of that's also to pump up their candidate. Well, Democrats do the other way. This is trouble. We're underdog because they know they don't want to take things for granted. They want to keep working. And the Harris campaign feeding into that, saying, look, we have a lot of work to do. We're still losing, even though polls suggest she's not.